Shalom, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Connection, week 211. Week 211. So, episode 211. So good to see you all here. Shalom, shalom, everyone. And I'm excited to jump into our topic today. It's come up for me for a few different reasons lately. I think that it's good to be here with you too. Thank you for that comment. It's really been prevalent in my mind because it's just been coming up with certain things that I've been working on. But I also think that, even though I sometimes don't even notice the passing of the secular calendar, because thank God I do live here in Israel and I have to know dates just because I make meetings with people on a regular basis, right? So I do kind of know the date and I try to stay very connected to the Hebrew calendar, but I think we all can't help but I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. I know it's hard for me not to get caught up in like the freshness of a new page, whether it's a new page in your calendar. Some of you it may be a fresh new calendar if you actually use a day book. I actually have a day book that I use to track certain things. And, it's a new month, it's a new year. We can't help but think about like a fresh page of our habits, a fresh page in our actions. And I think we can use this for the good. Like on the one hand, I talk to my clients a lot about not getting into all or nothing thinking and not thinking like, oh, you can only start a new habit on the first of the month, or you can only start being mindful of something on a Sunday or a Monday. And so usually, we want to stay out of that. We want to realize like today you can make a change. Right now you can make a change. It doesn't matter what you did this morning, doesn't matter what you did the rest of this week, the rest of the month, the rest of the year. You don't have to wait till January 1st to, go to the gym. If you want to go to the gym, go today, Monday, December 29th. It doesn't matter, right? Like you don't have to wait for a new day, for a new week, a new page. At the same time, when it will work to our advantage to feel like there's a new opportunity, then why not take it? And so, yes, we're going to talk about creating new habits and getting out of old habits because, on the one hand, there is but we can start these new habits today. And I want to talk about really what gets in the way of habits because we all know that we've tried to create new habits. We all know things that we try to work on every year. And as I said, this is coming up for me just personally. There's some habit that I'm trying to break, and it's like a night thing, something that comes up for me at night and I'm trying to break the habit. I'm trying to create a new habit for myself. And it's wild how it doesn't matter how mindful of it I am throughout the day, how many podcasts I've listened to, how much I talk to myself and coach myself through it, how when the time comes, I can still get stuck in that old habit, no matter how dedicated I am throughout the day to breaking it. And so what I realized, I kind of gave myself a little bit like some tough love coaching this morning. I was like, Hannah, it's time to acknowledge that something that you're doing throughout the day is not working if it's not allowing you to really shift this habit at night. Something's not working. We need to get curious with what's not working. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because whenever we have a habit that we're trying to break and we're just not being successful in breaking it, it's not enough to just say, I'm going to try harder. I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start January 1st. I'm going to be better tomorrow. I'm going to be perfect the next day. I'll start again. It's not enough to just beat ourselves up. It's not enough to just try harder. All that is going to end up wherever we already are because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So what actually does create the change? What needs to change to make change? So I want to talk about three things that can really make a difference when we're feeling stuck in a habit that we can't break, or we're trying to create a new habit that we can't seem to create. What are some things that might be going on under the surface that can be getting in the way, whether it's your own personal habit you're trying to work on, whether it's something you're trying to change with your husband, anything in your life. Let's look at these three big things. So, the first thing I want to talk about is that sometimes what's going on is that we're very focused on the actual issue, or we're focused on a behavior, we're focused on an action, but yet, what's really going on is something underneath that we can't seem to change the action because the emotions are the same. So, let me give an example. Let's say every time your husband comes in the door and he, gets busy let me think of a good example. Every time you have to do, every time let's go with that one. Every time your husband comes in the door and you find yourself just like getting upset with him. You find yourself picking a fight. Every time he comes home, you find yourself getting upset at something he said, or you get upset at him for something he didn't do during the day, or you don't, you get frustrated with him. And like every day you tell yourself, when he comes home today, I'm not going to get frustrated. When he comes home, I'm going to say, hi, sweetie, and I'm going to give him a hug. When my husband comes home, I'm going to be in a good mood. And you can't seem to figure out why, but it just doesn't work, right? Because still he comes home and you're in a bad mood afterwards. And the issue there is not necessarily that your intention isn't on point. Your intention is on point. You do want to behave differently when he comes home. So what's going on? There's likely an emotion that's underneath. There's something that you're feeling in the moment that your husband comes home that is why you're getting upset. And if you're not addressing what's going on that's making you feel upset, if you're not addressing what's getting triggered, then all your good intentions are probably 6 to 9 times out of 10 going to go out the window, and you're going to find yourself reacting the way you don't want to react. So maybe you're feeling upset because he walks in and you feel this pressure to have everything perfect when he comes home, and you're stressing out or maybe blaming him for the fact that you're so stressed, or maybe you're distressed in that moment, which is what causes you to take it out on him. Maybe you have a certain idea of the way you think he should greet you. Maybe you think that, there should be a certain type of way he comes in the house that then when he comes in a different way, it's triggering you, it's upsetting you, and you're not even acknowledging that you're getting upset that he says hi to the kids before he says hi to you, or that he doesn't come to give you a hug, or that he comes in and goes to the bathroom, or that he comes in and he looks tired and you're feeling guilty that he feels tired, or you're upset because you wanted his help, but he looks tired, so it looks like he's not going to, could be a million things, right? You see where I'm going with this? If that emotion is going on underneath, if there's fear, like I won't have his help, or upset that you have to work so hard, or if there's anger that he's not greeting you, there's almost like your good intentions to act differently are going to get lost in the inner emotions. And that's where it's important to do that inner work of like, what's coming up for me? So you can work through that, and then you can build a new habit. Then you can actually be happy with him because you realize he has a different way of greeting, or I'm the one stressing myself. Stop needing everything to be perfect. And even if he wants everything to be perfect, it can't be perfect. I'm home trying to take care of everything. Or I let go of the upset of like what's happening, or express a desire. Whatever it is, you get to deal with the underlying issue that's getting in the way of the habit instead of trying to build a new habit on top of those feelings and feeling frustrated. So that's number one. Number two is that very often the thing that's getting in the way of actually creating the new habit is that we're very focused on a specific result instead of focusing on our own sense of being, our own integrity, our own values. So let me give a very specific example of how this can show up in like a personal place. Let's say you're trying to, oh, here's a good one. You're trying to set an intention that you're going to exercise. We use the example of exercise. It's a big topic that comes up this time of year. So, and I'm not talking because we just ate, had Hanukkah, but because January 1st, they say the gyms are all full. So you'll see a lot of ads for the gym. You'll see people being very focused on, setting intentions in that place. I'm not saying anyone needs to exercise, and exercise happens to be very good for you, for your emotional and mental health, also your physical health. But let's say you you want to exercise and you set an intention that you're going to exercise 3 times a week, and that, or maybe you even are being the perfectionist and you're trying to exercise 5 times a week or every day. And then, there are days that it just doesn't work. Like, thank God today, it was pouring the majority of the day. And then, even when I did go out, it was so cold that there was no way I could get where I would have usually gone by foot. I had to take a bus and I had to come right back after because it was so cold. And I was with my kids. Like, there's no way that I could get, let's say the walk in that I would have wanted to get. Or let's say you set an intention that you're going to exercise, but then someone's homesick or you're homesick. Let's say you just have too much to do and you're not able to do it, or you really go to do it and then the gym's closed, or the person you were supposed to walk with cancels, or your computer dies and there's nowhere to plug it in where you actually have room to do exercise, or you woke up early to exercise and everyone's sleeping in a different room, so there's nowhere to do it, and you beat yourself up because, oh my gosh, I'm not getting it done, and you're focused on that number, whereas really it wasn't necessarily in your control. And instead of focusing on your intention, are you setting yourself up for success? Are you setting yourself up to be able to do it? Are you being real with what's possible? Are you letting go of perfectionism instead of 5 times a week to do it, to try to do 3 times a week? Are you allowing it to be 10 minutes, even if you can't do 60 minutes? Are you being realistic with yourself about what type of exercise works for you? That, to focus on intention rather than results, because results are not always in our hands. Or let's use a more relationship example. Let's say you're setting an intention to, stop certain, let's go back to the husband coming home. You're trying to set you're trying to set to not have a fight when your husband walks in the door, right? To not get frustrated, to not be upset. But you're kind of constantly looking over your shoulder. Is he fighting? Is he upset? Is he in a bad mood? Maybe you're trying to break out of that stress cycle, but he is getting stressed when everything isn't the way he wants it when you come home. And you keep checking, is he stressed? Is he upset? Is he fighting? Rather than focusing on, who am I being? Can I do what I need to do to calm down before he walks in the door? Can I let go of needing everything to be perfect? Can I do my best and know that my best is awesome? Can I greet him with a smile, even if everything's a mess, and not apologize for it because I really did do my best? And then a kid, empty the Lego all over the place after I cleaned it up. And no, I'm not going to rush and go crazy trying to clean it so that he walks in and I'm all harried and then I feel all stressed and angry and frustrated. No, I'm going to be real about the fact that there's a mess because kids make messes sometimes, and I'm going to let go of that stress. So rather than focus on him and his interaction, the real way to shift would be to focus on yourself. Who am I being? What am I creating? And the third thing is to acknowledge that sometimes something's missing in our awareness. Maybe we think, like in the example I was just started out with, I had to realize like something in this habit that I'm trying to break, something's not working. I need to acknowledge that there's something that either I don't know or something that I'm thinking is working for me that's actually not working for me. And a lot of times the reason that we're stuck in the habit that we're in is because we have a certain mindset. We have a certain skill set. We have a certain understanding that we're missing a piece of something. We can't seem to understand, wait, why do I get upset when he walks in the door? We can't seem to know how to not have it take us 3 hours to make dinner. I've coached women on that before. Like, I don't understand. It's so hard for me to make dinner. And then finding out that they're taking 3 hours to make dinner, or finding out that they're making a 5 course meal for their husband every night while trying to take care of a baby, or maybe feeling like, like how, or maybe not really understanding how to manage not to get pulled into his emotions. Maybe you don't, if a woman is stuck at feeling like, I am responsible if he gets upset. It is my fault if he's upset when he walks in and everything isn't perfect. Or, a good wife would make sure that everything is ready as soon as he walks in. So I'm stressing myself out without it even being him. We may be actually stuck in our own beliefs that are limiting beliefs. They were created based on understandings that we had, but they're not serving us. And we don't even realize that they're not serving us because we just think it's the way it's supposed to be. Or we don't realize that there's another way to do it, right? I've spoken to a lot of people over the last few weeks. I've had these conversations with people who really are so sure that the way they're thinking is the way it is. Like, of course, this is how we should look at parenting. Of course, this is how we should look at religion. Of course, this is how we should look at marriage. But they're missing a piece of understanding. They're missing a certain idea. They're missing a certain deeper insight into something. And very often that's what's happening. When I think back on so many of the issues I had and when I was first married, so many of them were based on like not really understanding how to have like what a relationship was supposed to look like, not really knowing how to act, not knowing how to set a healthy boundary, not knowing how to be able to say no, not knowing how to be open to saying yes, not knowing how to deal with my fears or dealing with my limiting beliefs or no, acknowledging when, like we were talking about last week, that I feel threatened that I might lose a part of myself. When we can have more understanding of these of ideas, right? When we can get clarity on things that we didn't have before, it can change everything in terms of how to create a habit, right? So many women are trying to create new habits on top of information that doesn't serve them, right? How many people try to push themselves to go to the gym by beating themselves up instead of realizing, beating yourself up actually doesn't help. Oh, really? I thought that's what you're supposed to do, right? Or how many of us are trying to not fight with our husbands, but at the same time, we're stressing ourselves out thinking that we have to have it all together. We have to be perfect. And what if, oh, like you don't have to be perfect? It's not my responsibility how other people feel. Oh, I'm not supposed to be a superwoman. Oh, or sometimes like we said, we just don't know. We don't know how to manage our emotions. We don't know what our role is. We don't know what's getting in the way because we just don't have that insight and awareness. And that's the power of continuing to learn and gaining insight, asking for advice, getting help, getting support so that we can try something a different way. So all of these ideas, I hope that they have been helpful for you. I want you to really think about a habit that you're trying to break or a habit that you're trying to build, and I want you to think of where you may be working on the surface level and how you could go a little bit deeper. Like what's not working, and like, okay, what might be under that I could focus on to then allow like that new structure to be built much more concretely, much stronger, right? And also, where am I focusing on other people or things outside of my control where I can focus more on what I do control, which is always going to be myself and who I'm bringing and how I'm showing up. And where might there be pieces in my understanding that are missing, something I don't have awareness of? Maybe something, and of course, we can't see what's in our blind spot. We literally can't see what's in our blind spot. So can I look and see, like, maybe there's a blind spot here? Or what am I believing that I could question, or where could I ask for some support or get some help? And I'm really going to invite anyone who has not yet or wants to hear it again. I address all of these topics specifically in terms of how they relate to our relationships with our husbands, our emotional intimacy with them, our physical intimacy with them, a sense of excitement and connection in our relationship with them that I have in my 4-step path to lasting intimacy masterclass. You can see the link for it. It's hannahdeutsch.com/register. You can find it if you're listening to the recording. You should be able to find it below. And I invite you to sign up for it. As soon as you sign up, you'll get information on how to listen. And I invite you to really lean in and listen to that masterclass, looking to see what can open up for you as you listen to these different ideas. I talk about mistakes that are often made that can get in the way and different steps that you can take to get through these blind spots, right? To really access your next level of connection, your next level of intimacy. And the truth is, it connects to any aspect of our life, right? That formula is something that can be used in our own lives. It can be used in our relationships with our husbands, different aspects of our relationship with our husband. The truth is, I use this framework to help women in other relationships in their lives as well. So, of course, tweaked a little bit differently, but yet they're really powerful ideas that can help you to actually create the habits that you want to create and break the habits that you're looking to break. So I hope that was helpful for everyone. You are welcome to put your comments and questions, in the record, like below where you're listening, or here in the chat. You're welcome to email them to me. I look forward to connecting with you further. And until next time, may we all be blessed to live, love, and be loved with all our hearts. Goodbye for now.